I'm going to be going through and rating every single trinket that's in the game currently, because some of these are great, some of these are crap, and others are in between. So I've gone ahead and I've made a tier list over on Tier Maker. If anybody wants to use it, you can just look for Darkest Dungeon 2 trinkets and it'll pop up. And all the trinkets are here, listed here with images, and then I'm just gonna go through. We're gonna find them, and we're gonna pull them over here, and we're gonna see what goes. So I'm gonna try to go in order of the tier list here, and we're gonna kind of go one by one and figure them out. All right. So the first one we have is this chalice, which I think that all these ones are the Antiquarian ones that we're gonna go through first. It's gonna be the chalice, the necklace, the ring, and the crown here. So these ones are interesting because they're really rare. You can only get them from the Antiquarian, right? And they're based off of like loot that you have. So it's based off your baubles and your relics. So it's really situational. Like you have to keep your inventory full. And since they've nerfed how much you can have in your inventory, it's pretty like hard to make these work. But they have some really good like abilities. Like if we look at the first one, it's like Celebrated Chalice is haste and crit, like plus 10% crit and speed. This is really good. And like getting your baubles and relics over 50 like isn't that big of a deal. So I would say this one's like A tier probably. I think it's not the most situational. I think it's very useful, but I don't think it's like super cracked. I don't think it's S tier. The next one is the Clarifying Carcanet. I don't know. This one needs more baubles, 75%. For max health and max damage. I think these are both really good, but I think the 75 baubles and or 70, like you can have one or the other, so you don't need to have both of them. I would say the damage is probably the better one to get. Like damage is generally better. Like the health is nice, but there are a lot of trinkets that help with health, while there's not as many that help with the damage. So I'd say it's pretty good for the damage. I'd say the health is pretty meh in my opinion. So I'm gonna rate this one like B. I don't think it's as good, because I think this one you can do 50-50 on the baubles and trinkets, the baubles and the relics, and it works really well. So the Cleansing Gasp, if baubles are greater than 25, destroys 1 negative token. This is kind of like the opposite of like unblinking entropy and stuff. Like removing tokens is nice, but I think there are way better like things you can have on you, and there are also ways to deal with negative tokens. Sometimes negative tokens can be helpful for you. There are other trinkets that like convert negative tokens that I think are better. So I would say that this is definitely like C tier in my opinion. This is kind of funny, they're going like right down. All right, the crown. So this is the big one, right? If your relics are over 100, heal 100% health. If your baubles are over 100, heal minus 10% stress. I think this one is actually really good, but I don't think it's something you keep on you all the time. I think this is something you have in an emergency. You keep it in your inventory, and if your team is struggling after a fight and you have the relics or the baubles to make this work, you can like switch it on for switch out a different trinket, and then it will like instantly heal you to 100 at the beginning of the fight, or just remove all your stress. I think the stress one's probably better, because I think it's easy to get to 100% health, or at least get very close to it with like road heals and stuff, but the stress healing is obviously a big one. So I think this is actually pretty good. I like this one. So I'm gonna rate this one, I think I'm gonna rate this one an A. I think this one gets an A. All right. Thankfully these are also in alphabetical order, so they go in the same order that the game has it in. All right, so the next one is the Covert Cloak. If flame is less than 40, 66% chance to stealth. Range skills ignore, 33% death blow resist. This is obviously made for the grave robber. I think it's a really, really or it also is really good for the highwayman as well, right? I think this is really, really good. It does have the situational of needing to be on Infernal for it to like continuously generate, but 66% chance is pretty good. I think I'm gonna give this an A class, just barely. I think it's almost B class, because I think I like trinkets that like guarantee things, but the death blow resist is very nice, or the death blow ignore, I should say. I like how this like cuts it off stupidly, but you get the idea of which one it is. Next one is Goading Gargoyle. This one converts block tokens, or sorry, blind tokens to strength, and gives you haste if the speed is, gives you haste if the flame is low. This is obviously made for the leper. I think this one is really powerful, but again, it's very specific. It's almost like a leper specific trinket, because like blind is something you get sometimes and it's fairly frequent, but it's not something you can like rely on all the time. So you're really only getting the haste from it generally, and only if you're doing infernal, and then sometimes getting the value otherwise. So I think this is like, and people might hate me for this one, I'm honestly gonna say that it's almost C tier, only because it's so situational. I'm gonna put it in C tier. I think it's really strong, but it's very, very situational. So like, don't know about that. All right. The next one is the Peculiar Pods. This one is again very situational, but it's the only item in the game that heals disease. The only item in the game besides the what am I trying to say? Besides the Plague Doctor's like signature in item that like heals disease, as far as I know. It's cool, but 5% chance is very like it's so situational. So like I'm definitely gonna put this one in. This one's definitely in D tier. Next one's Rousing Recorder. This one's pretty good. It generates a positive token, like a small chance, like a 1 in 3 chance to generate a positive token. And if the flame is above a certain, if it's above 75, which generally you don't always have, even if you're running like with flame, you generally don't have it that high that often, especially like in like longer regions and stuff. The 10% debuff resist is kind of negligible, but only 1 in 3 chance of it proccing. I'm gonna say this is like C tier, probably. Rousing Ringer. This one's really good for a lot of tanks. Again, it does have the situational thing of needing the torchlight to be low for it to proc daze, but a lot of people can give daze, and if any enemy has daze, that person takes 50% less damage. It's really good on tanks. It's great on Carcass. It's great on the Man-at-Arms. It's great on the Leper. And it's also great on squishy heroes. If you just like don't want them like getting, if they have low health, you can reduce their health or basically increase their health pool as long as you have an effective way to daze of other characters. So I think this one is pretty good. So this one I'm going to put like B tier, and that's pretty good. Sneaker Standard. Each ally on combat start has a 33% chance for stealth. This one's pretty good. The biggest downside here is that it doesn't apply stealth to the person who has it, so that's something you need to keep in mind. And of course, if the flame is above 75, it can actually taunt the person who has, or actually taunt people, which sometimes evens out with the stress or the stealth, but sometimes doesn't. It's a weird one. So I'm gonna say that this one is I'm gonna put this one in C. I think this is a C tier. C tier, I would say. Next one, Staggering Striker. This one is S tier. This is an S tier item. I don't care what. I know it's a flame one, but melee skills ignoring deathblow resist applies to most everybody on your team, and additional ways to apply combo, even though it's only on flame below 40. On infernal runs, this is so powerful. I love this item. It's so good. Staggering Striker is S tier. Fight me on that one. Vanish Vanity is basically a weaker version of Staggering Striker. It's much weaker, but it is a weaker version. I would say this is probably a B tier item. Then we get to Charred Litany. This one, again, is very situational because it's only good on characters that burn, i.e. it's really only good on the Runaway. Kind of okay, maybe, on the Plague Doctor. Obviously, it lowers the duration, but on, like, Orphan Runaway, it's super powerful. But I'm gonna put this one in C tier again because it's so character specific. It's not actually character specific, but it basically is character specific. Enlightening Element is freaking great, right? It's so good. It's good on Jester. It's good on the Highwayman. It's good on anybody else that you can get the speed up above 8, which is not so difficult to do if you have the right items. And just being able to apply burn, very, very good. So this one is definitely. Oh, this isn't the next. This wasn't the next one on my list. Where is it? Where's Charred Litany? Oh god, did we miss one? It's not in the items. Okay, well, Charred Litany, if it was here, would be getting... I think it would be getting S tier. I think it's an S tier item. It's applicable all the time. Oh my god, we're actually missing one. Or it didn't upload. Okay, it probably didn't upload. Oh wait, no, sorry, I'm not looking for Charred Litany. I've already done Charred Litany. I'm stupid. Shh. Shh. Okay. The next one here says Hymnal. Do I not have Hymnal unlocked? Or have I not seen Hymnal yet? I probably haven't seen Hymnal yet. That's probably why it's not showing up in here. Hymnal's very good. I think, again, it suffers from being character-specific in how it works, but I think it's pretty good. So I'm going to give it B tier. Hastening History, apply speed. It's very similar to the applying stealth one, the Sneaker Standard. So I'm going to give it like C tier. It applies speed to allies, which is good, but it can also screw you over. Sometimes you don't want somebody getting speed, right? So sometimes that's like not what you want. Laden Lantern, this one again is only relevant to the... It's only relevant to the, pretty much the Plague Doctor and to Runaway. It's good. It gives you additional burn chance, but, like, that's about it. Pairing Patriarch is really, really good. This one gives you, converts your dodge to dodge plus. I think that's super useful. There's a lot of use cases for it. Definitely think that's a B tier item, for sure. Then, for Snappy Swig. Snappy Swig is such a good item. We can take a look at this. This, again, is like... It applies to a lot of people. Crit tokens are so good. The burn dealt is kind of weird. That's pretty specific, but the crit token alone, like, makes it worth it. So I think we're definitely going to go... I don't know. I think it's A tier only because it's not as relevant on every character because of the +1 burn dealt, but it is very, very good. So I think we're gonna go ahead and put it there. Tinderbox. I actually haven't used this one very much. Tinderbox. Gain when hit. You apply burn to yourself. If you have a flammable item equipped, you get an additional burn chance. Again, this suffers from the, like... In fact, I think this is even worse because it actually causes damage to you. So this suffers from being character-specific when it's not character-specific, and also hurting you, which is not good. Carve Bodkin. If bleeding, get an extra action, you get less bleed received. This is actually pretty good. Bleed is the most common dot in the game. This like has some pretty good synergies on the leper for Ruin, because you can bleed yourself. He doesn't do as much bleed. Well, he only does a little bit of bleed anyway, but then he gets extra actions from it. It's also relevant on the Hellion when she self bleeds. So it has, I think it has a lot of uses, but I don't. Again, I think it's. Again, you have to wait for a condition to be applied, which is pretty common, but it's not like all the time always common. So I think that's a B tier item for sure. Next we have Sodden Sweater. This one's kind of complicated. It's basically stun and bleed resist. If you resist bleed, you get heal if you're below health. If you resist stun, you stress heal if you're at a certain threshold. And then you get additional bleed and or... move resist, not stun. Move resist if you're in certain positions. This is really situational. You have to have like the right character for it, and again, it has thresholds, which I find is really weird for like an indelible trinket. I don't think it lives up to an indelible trinket. I honestly think this is a C tier item. It actually might even be a D tier item. I would say it's a D tier item. It's not very good. Next to Clasp Knife. Clasp Knife is pretty good. You do get the bleed, like less crit if you're bleeding. Again, bleed being the most common dot, so like that's fairly common that it's going to happen. But a lot of people can bleed. Highwayman can bleed. Hellion can bleed. Plague Doctor can bleed. Jester can bleed. Like all base can, they all bleed. So like bleed is super common. It works on a lot of heroes, and increasing your chance to apply dots can, like, depending on your build, can be super useful. And it's a fairly common trinket too, so you can actually get multiple of them. So if you have like a bleed team, you can run a few of these. I'm gonna say it's a B tier item. I don't care what people say. Fisherman's Line. Again, this is very situational. This is one of the ones that is required to have a combat item. So it's good if you have that combat item, but then you can't use that combat item, or else you risk like it's like scrap grenade is a really good thing. Apply like, do I really want to not use scrap grenade just so I can potentially deal a bleed? Like Fisherman's Net is also pretty good. Like, do I really want to not use that just to potentially deal stun? Yeah, honestly, no one uses this. I don't think I've seen anybody use it. This is the first one going. Nobody uses this. I've used it once. It kind of worked sometimes, but I'd switch it off as soon as I could. So, all right, Fisherman's Gloves, gain when hit, bleed, if serrated. Okay, this is the exact same as the Tinderbox, except slightly better because bleed is more universal than burn is. So more people can bleed. So because of that, it goes above the Tinderbox, but only barely. Leather strap, more bleed duration dealt if bleed more disease resist is lowered. It's a really weird one. I think this is just gonna go in D tier. I like +1 bleed dealt is just kind of meh. Like if it was like +33% bleed dealt, we'd be talking, but I don't know. All right, nautical compass. This is an S tier item. In fact, this might be. In fact, I'd say this is a broken item. It gives you a positive. It does have the chance of giving you 1 stress, but like that's fine. Like 1 stress is manageable. It's a 1 in 5 chance. It's a 20% chance that it gives you 1 pip of stress. Yes, that can be detrimental, but it only takes up 1 slot, which is huge for what it does. This is a broken item. This is probably going to get nerfed. Nautical compass, definitely a broken item. Pristine lure. This one's actually really, really good. I've used this on tanks a lot. Just being able to generate extra taunt. It is character specific to people that you want to have taunt on. But it is very good. I would say it has a lot of situations where it works. It's definitely something you switch out, though. I'm going to call this a B tier item, for sure. Seaman's Boots. This one is really weird. This is like... It works on tanks, and it works on speedy people. I get the idea. Like, speedy people get dodge, tanks get generate block. But a 1 in 4 chance, and only when they're moving. So you have to have a dancing team, and then only sometimes does it do it. Like, I don't... C tier item. C tier. All right, so now we're getting to some of the fun ones. We're getting to the Cultist trinkets. All right. Ooh, Cultist trinkets. So Cruel Intent. This one again is leper specific, right? There's nobody else who you're like gonna put blind on, even for the 66% chance to crit at a 50% chance you miss. I don't like those odds, especially because it takes up 2 slots. You have to have a Dark Impulse with this. So like, I don't think, I think it's D tier because it does get used sometimes, but I think rarely at that. Only on the leper would somebody, if you have this on the leper and you have like a Tempest leper, you're killing people. It's great. Hardened Heart. So this one basically removes your ability to receive dot damage, but you take 2 damage base anytime. This is fine. It's a fine trinket. It works on anybody. It's okay. Obviously, dots can really fuck you over depending on where you are and like which area you're in, and they can definitely like take down your team. But this is only relevant against teams that apply dot. It's good against some of the cultists, like that bleed a lot, like the Evangelist or the Cardinal that can deal like all 3 dot types. Like this can definitely be helpful, but like that's still gonna deal 6 damage, which is a decent attack, right? So it can still kill you. It's just not gonna tick you down when you're on death's door. So with the lower death's door resist in the game right now, it has its place. I don't think it's never being used. I don't think it's being used much, but I think it is better than Cruel Intent for sure. Next one, Idle Thought. 100% damage from minus 30% damage per round. This one's dumb. If you go even 2 rounds, you're done, right? Your character can't deal any damage anymore. This is terrible. I think this is I truly don't think anybody's using this. I really, really don't. If you found a good use for it, like, be my guest. Dark Impulse. I'm just gonna put like B tier. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. They vary. Like, we're not gonna sit here and look through all of them. Just depends if you get a good one or not. There's loads of them. Misstep. If stained item is equipped, okay, so this is the plus health from minus 50% damage. This is okay on like plague doctors who are only like, you're only relying on them dealing like DOT damage or just doing any support character. This is actually okay on. Like if you've got a character that's not dealing any damage, like a backline Man-at-Arms maybe, or a jester that's doing all support abilities or whatever the case is. This is actually pretty good. So it has its place. I would say it's B tier, but that's the best it's getting. It's not getting any more than that. Selfish motivation adds 1 negative token, more damage per negative token. This again seems like a leper trinket, because this doesn't work on winded tokens. It works on blinded tokens, and the only character that really generally generates negative tokens is the leper. Or you could use this with something like Shattered Will, or like, you know, a quirk that generates negative tokens. It's very specific. I don't think it's very good. I'd say this is a D tier item. Again, it's only sometimes usable. Sickening Silence. Who's using this? Apply to attacker when you're diseased. Give them Blight, but you get 100% disease. Who's using this? Nobody's using Sickening Silence. Get out of here. If you're using Sickening Silence, you're wrong. I'm kidding, but it feels like it doesn't feel right. Don't feel right. Am I missing? I'm missing a few of the cultist trinkets. I'm gonna have to look up which ones those are, because I don't have them here. Oh, they're up here. They're hiding from me. That's where they are. There's the Sacred Scribblings too, because they're new. That's why. Sacred Scribblings. If speed is below 2, have a chance to apply vulnerable to yourself. +1 duration. This is who's using this? This is made for both the Runaway and the Plague Doctor. Have it's so situational. I don't think anybody's using this. Next one is Jealous Whisper. This one is when moving, it adds a random token. When you're moved by an ally, it adds 2 positive tokens. And when you're moved by an enemy, destroy all positive tokens. And you get 1 stress. This is terrible. Like, who's using this? Like, yeah, there's maybe a case for if you're using a intermezzo jester or something, or just a jester that's pushing and pulling your teammates around, maybe. But you get moved around a lot in this game by just random things. So nobody's using this. Nobody's. I keep trying to click in the game and it's not working. Locked Jaw. This is one I've actually not seen in game yet, but it actually sounds okay. This one is, I think, better than the one that gives you all the dot resist, at 200%, because plus 66% on most characters, you're already at 100% resist, and then you just don't have a chance to deal debuffs. If it's a character that's not dealing debuffs anyway, then who cares? Nobody cares. If you're a damage dealing character and you're not really trying to deal debuff with vulnerable or weakness, then this could be great on a character, especially on a tank. You put this on the Man-at-Arms, he's not really dealing debuffs very much. Yeah, maybe from Bellow, so you lose Bellow value, but then he can tank all the dots and not trickle down health. That's great. Put this on a squishy character that you're doing support stuff and not doing debuff stuff. Great. I think this is pretty good. I would put this in B tier. Pretty good. All right, next one is everybody. One of the best. Look, I love this one. This is made for the Grave Robber, right? Round start, 66% chance to stealth. If stealth, plus 50% crit. If not stealth, plus 50% additional damage taken. This one's pretty rough, but I think it's got its use cases. I am only going to give it a C though, because again, it's really only specific to the Grave Robber. She's the only one who really gets value out of this, but it's very, very good. It makes Venom Drop very powerful. It also makes Nightsworn very powerful, so I think they're both good. Snap Judgment, speed and haste, less healing received from skills. It's probably D tier. I don't know, actually. I mean, it's really, haste can be really good for you. You can set up a lot of good stuff for you here, and the speed token can be really good. So, this could be really good on Take Aim Highwayman, because you can basically force him to go quickly every time. Or a jester that's doing Encore. But less healing, you're gonna have to really hope you have a tank that can deal with that. Spoken Sharply, heal 3 on hit but get 50% less health. I don't know. I think this is D tier. I don't think that's enough healing to compensate for the lack of 50% of your health, personally. All right, Temptation. Let's talk about Temptation. This is one of the best items in the game. I'm gonna put it as S tier and not broken, only because it forces you to take 2 slots up, right? It forces you to take 2 slots up, but the extra action 50% of the time is huge. That's massive. You can get so much value out of that. But the only reason it's not broken is because it still takes up 2 slots and you have to put a Dark Impulse on, which sometimes are fine, but there's other trinkets that I'd rather have, right? And Wounded Words, max damage for less health. This is really good on quite a few characters. I would say this is B tier for sure. I keep trying to click it in there. This is B tier. The lack of health is not that bad, especially on like a character where you're able to deal with that. But the plus 50% damage is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. All right, moving on. We've got these are trinkets that you get from a lot of these are trinkets that you get from the academic study. So these ones are pretty interesting in my opinion. So we've got the anatomical map. This one, apply on hit, adds a negative token or adds 1 positive token. This one can screw you so bad. If you give a crit token to the wrong character, you're asking for trouble. This one's really... I honestly think this is D tier. I hate using... This used to be really good. This used to be like 12% crit or something like that. Like base to your character, I think it was. But now it's like meh. Astroglass Flute. Random ally on turn start minus stress or positive stress. It's okay. It's a good... If you get it early, it can be pretty good. But like you're going to switch it out for stuff later. I don't think it's that bad. I think it helps more than it hurts, but like it just doesn't do much for you. Befuddling Sundial, turn start, heal percent 80% or 2 stress 20%. Now 2 stress is rough, right? But I mean, an 80% chance to heal, this can definitely be very, very clutch. I think it can hurt you, but I think it can be clutch, and I think it is actually an A tier item. I think that 2 stress, if you have the right team for it, can deal with it. There's a lot of people that can deal with the stress. I think it's pretty good. So I think that 10% heal can save you in a lot of places. Corrupted Bile Gland basically allows you to apply dots on hit, but when you get hit, you have a very high chance of getting dots applied to you. I don't like this one. I think it's just asking for... I've had characters who just get hit like 2 or 3 times and suddenly they're dead because like they have like they just don't resist all the dots. You have to have it on a very specific character with like good resistances and stuff, and you're taking up a slot, so you probably don't have the ability to resist a lot of stuff with like trinkets. So unless you have like a plague doctor who's using this, which is probably who it's supposed to be for, even then I wouldn't risk it. I think this is a C tier item. Grim Mask, positive banter, negative banter. This I don't think anybody's using this personally. I think it's way too situational. I don't think anybody's using it. What is that? Oh, I know what that one is. Okay. It's the... I don't think I've actually seen this one in game yet, so it won't show up. So, but I don't... Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it. It's like cropped weirdly. It's the idol. There's like an idol one. I don't think we have it in here. All right, that's fine. I thought we had everything unlocked because the altar's fully unlocked, but we haven't seen all the academic study ones yet, I think. So that's why we're missing ones. So next is the heart-shaped padlock. This is the exact same, except it's based on HP. I think this is way too situational. I don't think anybody's using this. Obsidian Drone Pipe. Random enemy in turn start, 33% chance to stun, 10% chance to stun a random ally on turn start. This can screw you over. It can help, but it's really low chances. I think this is a D tier item. It sometimes works, but nah. All right, Oversprung Pocket Watch. Now this one I think is broken, right? I know it's a 40% chance to stun, but even when it stuns you, it can still give you the extra action, and you just end up going on your stun turn. So you still get a turn. Like, you get stunned the next time, but then you can also roll an extra action then, and it's like less than a coin flip that it's gonna happen, or more than a coin flip that it's gonna happen. I think this item is so busted. It only takes 1 slot, gives you lots of extra value, and you can resist the stun. So if you have stun resist from like a clarifying poultice or just natural stun resist or whatever the case is, you can get so much value out of this. This is definitely a broken item for sure. Broken item goes up there with Compass for sure. Proxy Doll, more damage per positive token, more damage taken per negative token. This one's fine. It's fine. It's not great. It's fine. I think it's B tier. It definitely works on characters with like token generation and stuff. Obviously, like Take Aim. This has a lot of value of Take Aim, especially with like Cursed Coin or something. Ugh, crazy. Pulsing Heart, heal or bleed. I think this works if you have like if you have somebody who can heal the bleed on your team. So a Plague Doctor or really a Runaway can very much help with this. I think it's good for survivability, but I think again it's very situational. So I'm gonna give it a C. It's good. It's not great. True Entropy. So this is This isn't as good as Blinking Entropy. It adds 1 random token, so it can be bad. Like, it's basically a 50-50, because there's basically equal positive and negative tokens in the game, that it's gonna be a positive or a negative token. It can help you, it can hurt you. I think it's a C tier item. Sometimes it really helps, sometimes it really screws you. Ghastly Gruel can heal at the end of the turn, and then you get more healing received or healing given depending on where you are. This is a really good item. You can put it in position 1, you can put it in position 4, you can even put it in position 2 and 3 if you want to, and it still has a chance to heal everybody. This is a really, really good item. I think this definitely goes in S tier, personally. I think this has saved a lot of my runs just by getting people off death's door. Very, very good. All right. Oh god, we got so many more left to go. All right, we're gonna power through this. Kitchen knives, really good on the Plague Doctor. Not really good on anybody else. It does have value on somebody who generates a lot of crit, because if you crit, you heal. So I've actually used this on the Highwayman a few times. It's good. I would say it's a B tier because it is kind of character specific. Brilliant Brew, this one goes like, it's okay, but it's very character specific. You know, you only +1 duration dealt. Nah, it's fine. Again, this one's another character specific one, kind of. Plus 25% blight chance. It's good. Like, that's very helpful if you don't, especially if you don't have like an alchemist PD and you want to still use her stuff. So I think this is C tier. I don't think it's amazing, but I think it's pretty good. Curing Cuppa allows you to blight, while also giving you more blight resist. So this is actually, it can go on any character. I think it's very, very okay. I mean, that 3 blight can be pretty good, but it also gives you blight resist. It's okay. Hag's Horde, healing received from skills per positive token. This one is basically, it can synergize pretty well with Indiscriminate Science. It basically works kind of like Indiscriminate Science without Indiscriminate Science. It also doesn't, like, you can basically use this to like generate tokens, get additional healing, and not remove the positive tokens. So it's okay, but I think I think there are better trinkets to have. Hints of Home, a low chance to heal, lowers disease resist. I think this one is probably C tier. It's okay. It heals. That's fine. Gain 1 hit blight. If noxious item is equipped, plus 33% blight chance. This goes like in the same tier as like Tinderbox and the Stropping Strap and stuff. It's basically the same one, but just for blight. So Armor Key. I think Armor Key is crap. If an armor item or a weapon item is equipped, you get a positive of one of these 2 things. This is basically an item that you just use as a filler spot until something else comes around. I don't know. I think people are using it, but very rarely. So, Blistering Bugle is pretty good. Additional taunt. Again, it's only specific on characters that you really want taunt on, of course. So, I would say it's a B tier item. Oh, we've got Galvanizing Goblet, which we just unlocked. So that's up here, I think. +1 Blight dealt. If HP is above 75%, plus 33% stress resist. This is actually very good. It applies to a lot of characters because of the stress resist. I think it's a B tier item. Obviously, the blight doesn't really apply to everybody, so you have to be situational on that one. All right, Footman's Grog. Where are we at? Footman's Grog. This one used to be busted. It's not busted anymore. It's okay. It's basically made for if you hit Death's Door and you get the weakness and you get the vulnerable and all that stuff, and you can convert it and be a bit stronger. I don't think it's nearly as good as it used to be. I don't use it very often anymore, and it's quite situational. So I think it's a C tier item. Reverberating Readout. Everybody knows this is S tier item. In fact, I might even say that it's broken, except for the fact that the extra action only works if your speed is slow. So I think this is actually balanced because it only works on like tanks, and getting 2 speed is not super difficult, but it can be difficult. So I think this is I think this is S tier. I don't think it's broken, but I think it's close to it. Calibrating Sensor. I think this is the exact same thing. This is really good on tanks. The gain on miss is a bit more specific than just getting hit. Like, it's easy to get hit. It's harder to force a miss to get the strength token. So I think this one is good, but it's not as good as Reverberating Readout for sure. I think this is an A tier item, but not an S tier item. Clenching Claws is basically like having the Jinx on somebody, except not as reliable, but it is, you know, it is like having the Jinx, and it can stun, which is really good. Also, if you have a slow person, it can immobilize. Immobilize is okay. It's not great. Again, I think this is an A tier item, but I don't think it's any higher than that for sure. Insulting Insignia. Random ally gets a block token. If you miss and you're first in the round, you get the combo token. You can work your way around this and give it to a slow person, so it doesn't really, like, you don't have to worry about that. I'd say this is like C tier. It's okay. You switch it out for something else. Stone Mount, very, very good. Converts block to block plus. This is great on tanks, especially on like stand fast and stuff like this. I would call this an A tier item for sure. In fact, I'm gonna move Parrying Patriarch. Parrying Patriarch and Stone Mount, both A tier items for sure. Yeah. Unwavering Standard. Each ally in combat start gets block, or has a chance to get block. This one's a little better because it can go to each ally, not just a random ally. So I think this is a bit better than the other one. So we'll move it up like B tier. It's B tier. It's okay. All right, Adrenalizing Ash. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about Adrenalizing Ash. I think it's okay because you can control who it's going on. And things that gain on miss are pretty easy to control, so I think it's pretty good. But I don't think it's like amazing. I think it's B tier. It has its place. It's pretty good. Buttressing Band, I believe, is this one. No, this is Bulwark Band. Okay, Bulwark Band. I dislike this one because it's a gain on hit. Gain on miss you can control. Gain on hit is harder to control. So the dodge is nice, but only 15% chance. But blind is really bad. So I think this is a C. I actually think this is a D tier item. I don't like items where it's gain on hit personally. Buttressing Band is really good. It's a great early item to get. That 10% crit chance can make a big difference. And again, you can control gain on miss very easily. So I think this is a B tier item for sure. I think Clandestine Cape. Stealth is good. Again, it's a gain on hit item, which I really, really dislike. So I think it's going to go and C. I mean, stealth is nice, but it's situational. Again, like you only want that on certain characters. And yeah, it's just not the best. So the next ones we're getting to are the ones that actually apply like debuff tokens, but if you miss the enemy, it applies a positive token. Again, I think you can control pretty easily when you hit an enemy. Obviously, there are times where you just get blind and you have to do the thing. But like, I think generally speaking, these are all pretty good. I would rate most of these. Like Daze is pretty powerful. Weakness is pretty powerful. This is the weakness one, right? Yeah, Disarming Dagger is pretty good. Distracting Dust, I don't know. It might even be A tier. Blind is so powerful. You can do so much with Blind. I think this is an A tier item, honestly. Like, applying the crit is rough, but if you're smart about this, like, applying Blind can, like, really screw enemies up. So, Gnarly Knuckles. Obviously, there are different levels of Gnarly Knuckles. I've only actually seen, like, this level. But basically, it applies... there's different levels of it, so I have to take that into account. But you gain additional melee damage. Actually, I don't even know if there are different levels of it anymore. They used to be. I don't know if there are. I actually haven't seen them since the Alter update, so I don't know if there are. So we'll just rate this one. Missing and gaining 1 stress isn't terrible. Plus 20% damage is really nice on melee skills. I definitely think this is, like... I would rate this an A tier item. It's good. It's just solid. It just works. It's very, very good. Guarding Gauntlet. Again, this is a gain on hit item. I don't like gain on hit items. I'm going to say it a lot. I think it's a C tier item. I don't think it's very good. Stirring Snuff. Strength Token. Yeah, Strength Token's fine. You know, Strength Token's good. We like Strength Tokens. I'd say this is like B tier. And then Raven's Reach. This is the equivalent of the melee one, but for ranged attacks. So, yeah, on range skills, yeah, it just deals just blanket damage, but also can give you stress if you let it. So, all right, what do we got next? Strange Sapper, Vulnerability. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'd say this is like B tier item for sure. I think that's B tier. B tier item. A lot of these ones are B tier item, except for Strong Shackles. This one is like, it can stun you, very low chance, which is fine. But like, Immobilize is only good if you also apply this to an ability that moves somebody out of position. Yeah, I don't know. This is, honestly, I'd say D tier. Now we get to an interesting one. Thrilling Tablet. This is basically made for solo runs. It's kind of hard to rate this one. If you're running a solo one, it's broken. If you're running anything else, you're not using it. But I'm going to give it to broken because I think it's I think it's no. I'll give it S tier because it's not broken. It can just let you do a solo run. It's very very good if you're doing a solo run, but like otherwise you're never using it. So it's kind of a weird one. Okay, so now we have the bounty hunter trinkets. The bounty hunter trinkets are all incredible, right? Ignores 50% move resist. If target is comboed, more damage. If target is stunned, additional crit. On this one, flashbang skills, blind. Hurlbat skills weaken. Caltrop skills have more increased debuff chance. And vengeful kill list is actually broken because it actually works on corpses. At least it used to. I don't know if it still does, but it's still very broken. They are, of course, very situational, though, because you can only use them on the bounty hunter, which means you can only use them on one region for the entire run. So because of that, I'm going to give these two a B. I'm going to give kill list. I'm going to give kill list S, but it's situational. The other ones only get a B because you can only use them. You have to. You can't even find them in the game. You have to like get a bounty hunter that has one, which is really hard to do. So no thanks. It's tough. Like they're really good. It's just tough to make it happen. Foreclosure notice. Okay, so now we're getting into the character specific trinkets. So and then the rest of them are just the yeah. So these are the character specific trinkets. Each of them have 3. So let's take a look at them. This is Grave Robber. Foreclosure notice. If in rank 4, apply combo on hit or chance to. Gain on hit. Flashing dagger skills can stealth her. If not stealth, minus healing received from skills. This is, I would say this is fine. And we're gonna rate these because they are character specific. I'm gonna rate these ones based on like the character. The bounty hunters are kind of weird because like you can only use them once, but these you can use a whole run. So I'm not gonna rate them bad because they're character specific. Like that's what these ones are made to be. So I think this one's B tier. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's her best one. So his rings, apply on crit, range skills, blight, poison dart skills, do more blight. And then she's probably never going to be in rank 1 realistically. This one is really good. I'm going to say this is an A tier item, especially for Venom drop. Very, very good. Stiff Drink converts stealth to crit. Turn end converts speed to daze. So obviously you have to be careful with giving her speed. It's kind of a weird one, but the crit tokens are really, really good. And Pick to the Face does plus 50% damage. I would say this is really good. I think this is another A tier item. I think her items are pretty good, personally. Okay, Bloodied Branch. Melee, this is for the Hellion. Melee skills deal strength, a chance to. When moving, if rank equals 4, obviously this is like the whole thing is she doesn't want to be in the back. And if it bleeds, skills deal more damage. I think it's okay. People aren't really using if it bleeds that much, honestly. And she doesn't have the highest crit value in the game, so like it's okay. I'd say it's a B tier item. Empty Stein, Barbaric Yarp skills have a chance to give her strength. Gain on bleed resist, weakness, which I find very weird. And then bleed skills do more damage. I think this is C tier. I don't know why she gets weakness from resisting bleed. I don't get that for that one. Rotten Tomato. Oh my god, Breakthrough applies combo. That actually, if Breakthrough did that normally, it'd be pretty cool. But it doesn't. And she's very rarely in rank 2 consistently. This is like honestly, who's using this? Nobody's using this for the breakthrough value. Nobody's using it. Sorry. All right, Highwayman, Curse Coin. So freaking good, all right? Plus 5 damage per positive token. This is amazing value of take aim. Obviously, a highway robbery gives her post is really good. Keep your relics below 100. It's fine. This is an A tier item easily. Curse Coin's so good. Rat Skull. First in round, which is pretty easy to do, get a crit token. Duelist advanced skills lock you in, which allows you to basically point blank shot pretty consistently, which is the whole point. Healing received when there's an animal present. Animals aren't super present, and you can prepare for them. You usually know when an animal's going to show up because there's only a few fights that have them. Honestly, S tier item, personally. I think this is an S tier item. It's freaking good. Tormenting Locket, basically, it's for melee only. It's his yellow hand skill ones. I think this is a C tier item. I don't think it's very good. C tier. Going to C tier. Sorry. All right, Busker's Hall for the Jester. We're now on the Jester. If in rank 1, adds a positive token. Solo skills have a chance to apply crit. And if relics are less than 25, he does less damage. This is basically for him doing solo. I think it's pretty good. I think it gets an A tier. It's pretty easy to make those conditions happen if you're running the right kind of Jester. Royal Summons, when moving, only 10% chance for a crit. I wish there was more for that. Play out destroying a negative token is okay, but you very rarely use play out. And the taunt in the back is not great. He ends up in the back pretty often, and he's pretty squishy, and I don't really like that. I think this is a C tier item. I don't think it gets used very often, personally. Severed Finger, if Jester is... So he does more damage to bleed targets, and he does more bleed, but he gets more bleed received. I think this is a pretty solid B tier item. It's just solid damage on like a soloist Jester or something. All right, moving on to the Leper. Simple Flower. Gain on move resist. And gain on stun resist. This is really specific to Poet. I've used this a few times, and it just didn't feel very good. Honestly, I think it's a D tier. I think you're sometimes using it, but very rarely. Inevitable End. This one, minus 3% death blow resist per round. Like, no, it's not good. If speed is less than 2, destroys 1 negative token. The idea is that it removes the blind tokens, but he can stack up to 2 on a round sometimes, and break is not his best ability. Honestly, who's using this? I don't think anybody's using it. All right. Uncommon Seashell is his only redeemable one, in my opinion. Intimidate gets used a lot. I don't get the whole thing that if he's... or if somebody is bleeding, this is badly worded, by the way. If somebody is bleeding and hits him, he takes additional 2 damage. That's weird. But the minus damage taken per negative token does have some really good value. So I think this is a B tier item, but this is much. All right, Man at Arms. Gain when hit, block plus, apply to attack bellow skills, chance to stun. That's AoE stun. That's really good. The first in round blind. It's not the biggest deal. He's usually not the first in round anyway. I think this is pretty easily an A tier item for Man at Arms. Standard of the Knife. Each ally in combat starts block plus token. That's a guaranteed block plus token across the board. That's pretty good. Gain on miss. If he's in rank 1, just put him in rank 2. Courageous Abandon skills. Nobody's using Courageous Abandon. I think this is a C tier item. I think the only value out of it is the block, honestly. Undeserved Commendation. Command skills can apply crit, which is pretty good. When moving, if rank equals 1, gives some stress. I don't get that one. If rank equals 2, plus 25% max HP, it's okay. I think it's a B tier item. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's terrible. B tier. Scalded Skull. Nobody's using Scalded Skull. More healing given per missing hero, and also has the chance to burn random allies. But you get debuff chance increase. There's better ways to increase your debuff chance without damaging yourself and also having a very specific thing that never gets used. Seeing Sphere converts vulnerable to strength tokens. Daemon's Pull, add a negative token. Gain when moved by enemy, adds a negative token. It's okay. It's C. C. Shambler's Eye. Gain on crit, binding shadow skills, unchecked power, plus 1 damage, 1% damage per each percent of stress. It's actually very powerful. You can end up doing a lot of damage. I think this is an A tier item. That's just me. All right. Annotated textbook. This is where I get mad, right? I dislike that hers require... These are 2 really good ones, kind of. Like, this is obviously plus 10% crit is good for Surgeon. If first in round vulnerable, I don't really like. If medicinal herbs are... You have to have medicinal herbs, which is pretty common to find them. But I really dislike that her... Why does she have trinkets that rely on combat items? I dislike that pretty thoroughly. I think it's a C tier item. It's not C tier if you have the item, but you also then can't use the item. It just feels weird. Early Experiment is a little better because of the additional 66% blight dealt. If you can find a spore grenade, it's very, very good. But only if you can find a spore grenade. So I'm honestly gonna give it C tier again. It's good if you can find the right items. And then Storage Room Key is I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong here. I don't think anybody's using Storage Room Key. I don't think anybody's using Physician, personally. All right, Runaway. Some of the other bad trinkets in the game, in my opinion. If Stealth, give crit. Very rarely am I using Run and Hide on her. That might just be me. Heartlight skills have a chance to combo, which is okay. But again, she has this weird Gaunt negative hasting, which is only specific to some fights. But I don't think it's very good. I think it's a C tier item. Knitted Blanket is actually pretty good on Orphan Runaway. It's actually good on all of her skills because she deals burn no matter what. Obviously much better on Orphan because of the percentage upgrade, and the burn resist is pretty good. I'd say this is a B tier item. Pile of Ash, when moving, dodge, combat start, get backdraft skill. Nobody's using this. Nobody's using Pile of Ash. Who's using Pile of Ash? Ain't nobody using. Fates Foreteller. Okay, so we're out of the those items now. The character specific ones. Fates Foreteller. Dot resist. If your health is at the right threshold, you heal. Very specific. Very, very specific. Mortal Ward, you have to be on Death's Door. Who's using this? Sorry, but who's using that? You're relying on being on Death's Door in this game when Death's Door is so bad. Nobody's using it. Prodding Pendant. Healed 33% chance when stress damage 5% of the time. Nobody's using Prodding Pendant. Inert Indica. Minus 100% damage taken if stunned. Again, you have to be stunned to use. It's like, it's so situational. Like, nobody's, you have to rely on being stunned for that. There's only a few fights where that even happens. Like, no. I think Skeleton Key is on the same as Fate's Foreteller or whatever. Sparkle Ball is basically like the Jinx, but when you hit, it's good. It's very good. I would say this is an A tier item. Yeah, definitely. All right, Shambler Trinkets. Eyes of the Void. You have to be at exactly 5 stress for this to do anything. Why? And if you're like, no. Why? Exactly 5 stress? No, nobody's using that. From Beyond. This is nobody's using From Beyond. It's like a death blow resist one, but you have to be above a certain stress and then below a certain stress. Very weird. Hierarchy of Needs. You can get up to 100% damage because he's stack if you're at 9 stress. It's hard to manage. You can use it. It's a D tier item. All right. And then we have Unblinking Entropy, the only good item that the Shambler gives you. It's broken. You get stressed pretty much all the time in this game and generate tokens. It's a broken item. It's very, very good. All right, so now we're coming to the ones that have 3 versions of them. I'm going to rate them based off of the best version because that's the one that you want, and it's the best idea of what it is. Greater Anchoring Charm is an 8. Okay, Greater Anchoring Charm, A tier item, right? Just solid A tier item. Very, very good. Bouncer's Belt, healing received from skills. It's situational. It's good. It's not as good as Anchoring Charm, in my personal opinion. Greater Cleansing Sensor. Debuff resist is okay. I think this is a B tier item. It's good. It's not amazing. Okay, Greater Clotting Cure gets C only because bleed is so common in the game, but that's all. It's for 1 trinket slot giving you bleed resist. It's not great. Greater Gilded Mind, Deathblow resist and stun resist. I think this is an A tier item. I think this is a very solid, just if you don't have anything very character specific, it's a very solid item to have. I think the same with Hail Drought. It can be very, very good if you need it. I think it's just a solid health up item. Very, very good. Greater Heartseeker, S tier item. 10% crit, S tier item. Great item, right? We love that. Okay, so Heat Shield. Heat Shield is a C. And so is the Voodoo Doll, whatever it's called. Okay, Blight and Burn are much less common than Bleed. They take up an inventory slot. It's okay if you have nothing else, but you're going to replace it pretty quick. There are other ways to deal with those, and there are better trinkets to be had. Protector is more healing given. This is a B tier item. It's very good on healers. It has no relevance on non-healers. Sharpness Charm. Sharpness Charm is just a solid... I would even call it... No, it's not S tier. It's definitely A. It's solid. It's 22% additional damage across the board. Very, very good. Actually, no, I'm going to do S tier. The reason I'm doing S tier is because I put these ones at A tier, and I think they are A tier, the melee one and the ranged one. But this one is just 22% damage across the board. It's very, very good. And then the Wolf's Blood, which gives you speed. I think that's an A tier item. Solid. Has no downsides. It's solid. Again, we're rating on the best ones. And then I don't know what this one does. I can't remember. I'm just going to put it there. It's an academic study one. I've never seen it in 500 hours of playing this game. So never seen it. We'll just have to figure out what that does some point. Somebody's probably going to come into the comments and tell me that I'm wrong. But yeah, so that's all of the trinkets in the game. At least I think it's all of the trinkets in the game. I think there might be 1 or 2 that are missing, but I think we got them all. You're probably going to tell me that I'm wrong. That's totally fine. Go ahead and leave a comment and tell me which ones are wrong or which ones you agree with. And if you like this kind of content, do consider leaving a subscription to the channel or leaving a like. It really super duper helps me out. I stream 4 times a week on Twitch as well, so if you want to check out my Twitch channel. I stream Darkest Dungeon too, so if you're interested in that, go check it out. Thanks for watching. This video has been way longer than I thought it was going to be. All right, bye!